So, hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about product strategy. Let us try and understand what product strategy is all about. Well, in order to have a good rollout, in order for your product to be successful, I feel that a good product strategy is an absolute must. I'll just share a couple of slides with you that are easily available online. However, let's take a closer look at what does it mean. So let's go. So, what exactly is product strategy? So, by definition, it says it's an informed and an intentional approach for a product or a service driven by both the customer needs as well as behavior, and the goal that will maximize your success as an organization. A roadmap is not a strategy. So, guys, do not mistake a roadmap to be a product strategy. What exactly is product strategy? Basically, a strategy is decisions of what? It is a collection of smart and informed decision. So then what makes up a good product or a design decision, right? Let's say, how do I say whether this is good? Well, there are three input sources. One, what is your goal? What is your business goal? Second, what do your research insights tell you? Are you looking at what people are talking about your product? If so, you may understand whether the decision to launch or ship that next feature will add benefit or not. And third is, what metrics are you evaluating, right? So first is the goals. Let's look at what are the goals. Define what we are trying to accomplish, right? How it will affect your experience, what should happen as a result of this project. For example, if I'm adding an sso login wherein we are giving an option to a customer to not create an entire form for login, however have a plugin from Facebook or email or Gmail, this as a feature will help faster registration and faster login into your application. The so the goal is to improve the or increase the number of people who are registering with us and make it smoother, right? What would be your metrics against that? How many people did we see registering onto this app post having this feature incorporated? So the goal should convey our intention in such a way which explains the expected benefit to both our company and our customers. All right. So let us look at, in order to find out what is a good product strategy, let us find out what are not good product strategies. Well, these are just, they are not certain statements that will improve a certain metric. Example could be, for example, if you are saying that increasing of footfall, meaning having a better look and feel, well, that will not be considered as a product strategy, but will be an item in your product roadmap to improve the look and feel of the product. Profitability targets. So we do not map directly our strategy decisions with our profitability targets, right? Third is, they are a prescriptive of a solution or an action. So they're basically not, we are not giving any solutions when we define product strategies. Why? Because product strategy is defined prior to going ahead with the decision or going ahead with the solution or an action. Example of good product strategy goals include, well, as I said, improve our new customer onboarding, provide meaningful content to a first time visitor, and deliver a deeper value to the product managers with our ad on mobile app. So these are a couple of good goals. Effective strategies provides definition for what a good design or product decisions are. Defining goals. So what should be your edges that you should take care when you're defining a product strategy? Well, it should be written in a clear statement um, that tells us what are we trying to accomplish. Second is what is an expected impact on the product or the experience. And third, how do we clearly identify the success indicators? Three things. Let's tally it up with our onboarding experience. Is what are we trying to accomplish? Is we are trying to accomplish a smoother customer onboarding. Second, addition will help the customer to log in without providing too much of their details which they've already provided with service providers like Facebook or Gmail. And the third is the success indicator would be as on the deployment of those features post the release into the Play Store or your website, how many downloads or how many new registrations have occurred. Since all these three can be defined, this considered as a good product goal. Second is research insight. This is very, very important. Why so? Because it helps us, helps the company to, to be aware for straying away from the core needs and thereby do not make costly mistakes before the go live or before shipping the product into the market. This also helps us understand, have a better insight on the product market fit. Example is COVID. A lot of travel applications which were operational in a certain way, in the traditional way, had to pivot out, taking into consideration the COVID measures and the safety measures, listening to the research behavior of how our, what has affected the travel industry, how frequently are people flying, who are those customers who are flying, and what are their needs. This is a very exceptional scenario. However, there could be other scenarios. For example, consumer tech space. Let's say in baby foods. So, due to an increased demographics or a demographics of a country like India, where a major population is middle class, working, young individuals who are young parents, and they have money so they can pay, and yet they want certain comforts. So, what are the features and what are their buying behaviors that are currently existing that a company can look into prior to defining its product strategy? User research. Why is the user research absolutely critical? For a couple of reasons. First, it identifies what are your customers' needs and what are their behavior. Taking the example of, let's say, a baby food processing company or a startup, they need to see, how comfortable are the clients or the customer in terms of online buying, how stringent are they in terms of quality, what mode of delivery do they prefer, and how do they like to stay in touch? Are they too much into discounts or are they too much into quality and seasonal features that gets added in their website? Second, it also tells us what exactly is the problem and, most importantly, why so. Let me take another example of an online retail space in an SME, small and medium segment enterprises. There is a huge disconnect between the buyers as well as the sellers, prima facie because of a lack of a mid level marketplace being in existence, due to which a lot of buying and selling happens in an offline mode, resulting into disparity in price points of sale, as well as lot of wastage in the entire supply chain process. Third, it is a way to learn how do we meet our strategic goals. In a startup, no fact exists inside a building. It is only opinion, right? When you're starting out with your own venture, you do not have facts in your own company to support a solution. However, in such a case, you need to go out and understand the market and understand the behavior in order to come up with an effective MVP. Doing the right research for you. So, first is you review your goals. Better enable the designers and the product managers the ability to communicate design, features, and product recommendation. This is very, very important. For example, a B2B application may lean low on the design phase, but will lean high on a product feature uh, space. Whereas if you look at vis-a-vis a B2C application in the retail space relies or leans extremely heavily on the design phase and goes a little linear or a lenient towards your product recommendation. So what are your goals? Where are you? And what you're intending to do is extremely important. Then you need to do regular surveys, span it out to your customer segment in order to understand periodically what are they feeling, what are they doing, where are they looking next, and that is your opportunity. Again, this helps your designers and product managers to come up with better recommendations on your product designs and features. As per the Kano model, what is a wish now becomes a need later on. So it's good to inculcate some of those wishes also as a part of your product feature so that you do not lose out in case it becomes a need. For example, video conferencing as a part of any suite like Gmail or Yahoo or any other service providers. Video conferencing via Google Meet was not you know was not too thought upon. It existed, yes. However, the scalability of the product, the availability of the product, the robustness of the product, the feature enhancements of the product weren't so great. As a result of COVID, which forced the entire population to stay at home and communicate via video conferencing, people started looking out for video conferencing app. So that's another crucial area that we could look at when we kind of write our survey forms. So if we are in regular touch with our customers, it helps us to cross the curve before it arrives, right, actually. Now, create themes categories to collect notes. This is very important. You need to categorize your surveys in terms of user experience, in terms of ease of usage, in terms of security, in terms of availability, in terms of training needed, in terms of AIs like chatbots, in terms of neural linguistic programmings in which they want to understand text to speech, speech to text conversion mechanisms. So, four or five couple of categories one can easily categorize the surveys in order to collect effective feedbacks. Um, and while you're conducting a research, be relatively organized and prepared and take notes about everything. This is extremely important. So follow your themes and categories to ensure you're collecting relevant notes and data to your goal. creating insights from this is extremely important. So once the data gets collected, you need to parse the data in order to form an informed insight. So raw data, and you give a context to it, and you understand the insight for the same. For example, um, a lot of people in past 1 year or 5 year or so suddenly started to visit the stores lesser, and yet were buying. So when they saw a dip in the footfall of a retail store and they conducted a research around the same, they found that there were effective online mediums which they were comfortable in buying from. This, as a data with an addition of context, became an insight for company like retail giants like DKNY, H&M, or Forever 21, Max, or Lifestyle, um, that people are buying clothes online, and this compelled these companies to go online digital with their stores as a part of their e-commerce strategy. Creating insights from the research notes. So you go beyond the data is very critical because we need to communicate what we have learned from our customers and how are we going to meet the goals. Now, if you, an example being, if there is a spike in a user behavior over a relative period of over a relative period of, let's say, 1 month or 1 year, it's always good to have a larger data point for collection of information or data instead of having a shorter space to get a more informed information to take better decisions. So, inference or meaning is more important than just the facts, right? So, research notes is about tools. So, you use tools like SurveyMonkey, and there are a lot of other research tools which are available in the market that you can use. And then there has to be a process, right? Plus the context as to why, and why did we hear what we heard, or why did we see what we saw. Example being, as a part of COVID, three sectors majorly that got attention of all the venture capital, one being the gaming arena, second being the ed tech applications, and third being the healthcare going digital. So these were the two or three uh, spaces that came up as a need from COVID. So you always need to keep looking at where your customer are doing, and also understand what your customer is doing. We will take a separate session on who exactly are your customers. Your employees could be your customers. Your primary customer is your definite customer. However, your secondary customer is also your potential to come as a primary customer. Your primary customer buying certain ancillary products or having an ancillary behavior could be a new business opportunity for you to launch into. We will look that in a separate session going ahead. So people struggle to show their teams why a design decision is best because they use separate tools for tracking research and actual product and project actions. Third, making decisions and recommendations. This is the most and the final step of the process. So, what were we doing and why are we? You're entitled to your informed opinion. No one is entitled to be ignorant. This is very important. So, make a product design decisions and product recommendations which clearly support our research insights and goals, right? So, you have a clear goal and then you back it up with your research insights, becomes an informed decision. Now, how do we monitor a decision and lay down certain metrics for measurements. Measuring the success. Why is a metric needed? Well, it defines the success of your product strategy or your design strategy. Choose metrics that tie back to our goal and its success indicators that measures the success of each decision. So, for example, better enable product and designers to communicate designs, features, and product recommendation. One, two metrics you can look at is you improve adoption and improve customer retention, and more people are signing up for the product. So what should we do for improving of adoption is success indicators are increased downloads, right? So what could be the example is your people, number of people coming onto the page, and total time spent on the page or the site. Hmm? And how could you find out what are the indicators? Well, the total number of people who have signed up with you, and follow ups and surveys and usability testing. Creating your product strategy, putting it all together. So, design decisions is a part of goals, research insights, and you define the success of the same by defining certain success indicators around the same. Google calls it OKR. You can also have a product roadmap. We'll see the product roadmap details shortly. So, so your organization should have a vision and a vision statement, and there should be a product strategy, and then there should be decisions that are part of the product strategy. So much about the product strategy. I leave you with this thought to define a product strategy for a new product which you wish to go ahead and launch, or which is already available and needs to have an enhancement, or it needed a pivot, and what enabled you to go ahead and pivot those features out, or there is an iterative feedback that was taken that got incorporated from the product strategy till your shipping of the feature into the go live environment. I hope you could do this examples on your own. Please do comment below, and if you need any help, we'll get ahead and discuss on the same. Thank you so much. Stay safe.